I got a call from the CDC this week, everybody. I got a call from the CDC. And so I get a call. So here's what happens. I get a call to my phone, my cell phone. It's from a random number. And like many of you guys, when I get a call from a random number, I ignore it. I let it go to voicemail. So I let it go to voicemail and I check the voicemail because I'm always curious. What scam are they trying to set up for me today? And this is one. It goes, "Hello, this is the CDC. We are calling. We're doing surveys about COVID, vaccines, and other health related issues. We'd love for you to take our survey. Please give us a call back at one of the following numbers." So I did. First, I looked up and I wanted to see exactly what was going on. Like if this was true. Look, I looked up the numbers and everything, and I looked it up, and they actually were doing one. It's the National Immunization Surveys that the CDC is doing. And so I'm actually looking to try to pull up their website for it right now because they had it up earlier. Here it is. And I thought it was going to be blocked, but no, I just got it up. So the CDC, they're doing a national immunization survey, and it's a group of telephone surveys sponsored and conducted by the CDC's National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases. Since 2018, the National Immunization Survey have been a single frame survey design that includes calling cell phone numbers for household interviews with parents or guardians. If the parent or guardian provides consent and contact information, a questionnaire is mailed to the children's vaccination providers. Well, again, I'm not a parent or a guardian. I'm a 22-year-old college kid. And so I had this survey, though, and they conducted it over the phone for me. And so here is what they asked in their CDC survey. And some of it was standard, but other parts of it were interesting because you can tell it's Joe Biden's CDC and it's a woke CDC. So first they asked me about if I had any children. They asked some of those kinds of questions, like, do you have anyone under 18 living in your house? Asked me about like kind of my household income, all those kinds of things. Pretty standard stuff. But then they asked me vaccine statuses for my other vaccines, and the majority of the vaccines that you get when you're like a baby, I have all those. I told them I have all those. Then they asked me if I was going to get an RSV vaccine, which I hadn't yet to hear of. And then I looked it up later. It's primarily for people in their 60s to prevent many respiratory borne illnesses, whether that's like bronchitis, which I think I'm actually currently have, or maybe like cold, other things, pneumonia. I said no because I hadn't heard of it. Then they asked me about COVID vaccines. They asked me a lot of questions about COVID vaccines. When did I get my last COVID vaccine? Well, I told them my school forced me to get one back 2 years ago. That is the only time I ever got a COVID vaccine. Then they asked me, do I plan on getting another one? No, I do not plan on getting another one. Why? Do I not plan on getting another one? Well, when there have been studies that have shown that in young men in my particular age group, as well as just young people in general, there's a higher risk for myocarditis, as well as many people who have gotten the COVID vaccines have had very suspicious circumstances of potentially dying suddenly or other issues. Here's the thing. YouTube, Facebook might block me for all this stuff. So guys, make sure you go and subscribe to my channel, hit notification bells to all, everything like that, because I might not be able to talk to you for a little bit because they might ban me. But I told the CDC, no, I do not plan on getting a COVID vaccine anytime for any reason. The health risks are scary. And then you could tell the survey person was a little disgruntled with that answer. But then he asked me, he goes, immediately after I said all that too, he goes, do you believe the COVID-19 vaccine is safe? No, I do not believe the COVID-19 vaccine is safe. Do you? With everything that we've seen come out, do you believe it's safe? At a minimum, I don't believe it's effective. Because the CDC themselves came out and said that it does not stop transmission of the virus. Your own agency said it doesn't stop transmission of the virus. So no, I don't think it's safe, and I don't think it's effective. And then after I say all this to the CDC survey proctor, he goes, are you aware that there are many places across the country that you can, in almost every locality, that you can go and receive a COVID vaccine or booster for free? And here's what I said to him. Not even kidding. Here's what I said to him. I go, well, I am aware that there are plenty of places that I can go receive a COVID vaccine that claims to be for free, but it is not really for free. It is all taxpayer funded, which means in some way, shape, or form, I paid for it. You paid for it. We all paid for it. So it's not free. But that's what they're telling people. Are you aware there's plenty of places you can go get one for free? Yeah, sure. Then he asked if I'm just going to get another. I said, no, God, no. God, no. And then he asked me if I had health conditions that would make me more worried about getting COVID or anything like that. He asked me how worried I was about COVID. Not at all. I've had COVID multiple times. I'm fine. I'm still alive. As long as I'm in Philippians, I talk about this verse a lot. In Philippians, Paul is contemplating death, and he says, well, if I'm still alive, if I'm still breathing, then God still has me here for a reason, and that's my belief. If I'm still here and I'm still breathing, God still has me here for a reason. He said, am I concerned about getting COVID? Nope. How safe do I think the COVID vax is? Not at all. I don't think it's safe at all. He asked me if I had a doctor recommend it, and I said no. I've had doctors that asked me if I plan to get vaccinated, and I said no, and that was it. And then they get into demographics questions, and here is the real kicker about my call with the CDC. Here's the real kicker, everybody. So they first ask me when it comes to demographics, they ask me what my sex assigned at birth was. And then they go through male, female. I'm a male. I'm a male. Then they ask me, how do I identify now? And they go through this litany of gender options: cisgender male, cisgender female, transgender female, non-binary, gender fluid, all that kind of crap. And I said, I am a male, not a cisgender male. I am a male. Because cisgender is a BS term made up by transgender propagators of propaganda and these ideologues that push this false thought that a man can become a woman and a woman can become a man. I see cisgender. Cisgender is a slur, and the CDC is using it. Why do I see it as a slur? Because I'm proud to be a man, just as much as biological women should be proud to be women. There's a pride to my gender. The fact that I cannot change it. The fact that there are things that I am innately able to do that women aren't, and women are innately able to do things that I'm not. Such as for women, give birth. I'm not able to do that. For men, I have plenty of things that I'm at a biological advantage for. And there's greatness to that. And I'm proud of it. So to call me cisgender, to dilute my gender as if it is, oh, well, you were just born that way. Other people can change it. No, they can't. No, they can't. And the CDC is propagating that information or that thought, that ideology. So that was a crazy one. And then finally, we get to race. We get to race on my CDC call, my CDC survey. And they ask me, they asked me first, what race do I identify as? I'm white. They went through all of them. I'm white. Then they ask if I am of Hispanic descent or anything, like from one of the, I don't know. I've never understood that. Maybe somebody can explain that to me, how you have like white and non-white Hispanics. I don't really know exactly what that is. But explain it to me. But then here was the real thing that I got so confused by, and has led me to just, I've gone on rants about this to friends because it just blew my mind that this was a question they asked. So after asking about my race and confirming that, yes, I do believe I am white, today, I can identify as black tomorrow if I want to, if we're just going to live in la la land like the liberals. But they asked me this question. They asked, do I believe that my health care is worse than, the same as, or better than people of other races? Real question they asked me. Again, for those that, just to make sure you heard it, the CDC in a survey asked me if I believe my health care is worse than, the same as, or better than people of other races. And so I quickly said to him that I believe it's the same as. But then my head started thinking a little bit more. The gears started turning. What kind of question is that? What kind of crap question is that? Do I believe that my healthcare is the same as, better than, or worse than somebody of another race? How am I supposed to know that? How am I supposed to know that? There are 3 ways that I think I could know that. The first, I'm a racist doctor that treats people differently based on their race, or I'm any doctor and I would just have a general understanding of that answer. That's the first one. The second, I have a spouse or a child that is of a different race than I am, or a direct close family member. Those are pretty much the only, I said 3, I said spouse, but then I combined the third one, which is having just any direct close family member that is of a different race. That is the only way. But here's what they're going to do. You want to know what they're going to do? They're going to publish this data where I guarantee you have a lot of people that have been told by the liberal mob that their healthcare is worse because of their race. They're going to tell the CDC in their survey that I believe my healthcare is worse. And then the CDC is going to publish a report of these survey findings that say people of this minority group believe that their healthcare is worse than those that are white. And so then you're going to have people in Congress, liberals, lefties, that are going to go onto the floors of Congress and propose legislation to overhaul our healthcare system with socialized healthcare, equitable, quote unquote, equitable healthcare based on these speculative survey findings. So that was my call with the CDC. And that's the kind of things the CDC is doing. The CDC is yet another wing of our government that is pushing liberal and leftist lies and also encouraging people to get a dangerous vaccine. But that's just my thoughts. We got to take a break here, everybody, on Cities 92.9. Stay tuned for more. We'll be right back.